Hello, welcome back to the 2021-2022 webinar series for the ISD PTSA Special Education Committee. We're happy to have you back again this year, and joining me once again this year is Dana Bailey, now Assistant Superintendent of Special Services. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Thank you for being here. So what this is, just like our inaugural year last year, we are continuing with this ongoing series of webinars that we strive to answer about 3 to 4 kind of common questions that families that are receiving special services in ISD might want answered. Our goal is to provide just answers for common issues to make life a little bit easier for those families. So if you have questions for future seminars, or excuse me, webinars, please send your questions to special-education@issaquahptsa.org. And also I encourage you to join our Facebook group, which you can find by searching Issaquah Special Education PTSA Committee. So jumping right in, first, congratulations on your promotion. Can you tell me a little bit about what your new role is, and if there have been other administration changes in your department for this school year?
Sure. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you giving me that nod. Yes, as Assistant Superintendent, I will be handing off the day-to-day operations of the Special Education Department to Shireen Carver, the new Executive Director. Changes in the department are many, so just let me run through them for you. Teresa Cowan, formerly Assistant Principal at IMS, will be the Principal of ACT and will be supporting students and programs at Echo Glen. Tammy Unruh, formerly Assistant Principal at IHS, will be the new Secondary Special Services Director. Dr. Jameson Moore, hired just a few weeks ago from Snoqualmie Valley School District, will be the Special Education Director of Elementary Programs and will also support the new ECE Coordinator, who will be the on-site supervisor at Polly Street, as well as ECE Coordinator district-wide. Joan Lawson is picking up all of the district programs, so the behavior team, other functions of special services that affect the whole entire district, preschool through the ACT program. And also in my department is Spencer Phelan, Assistant Principal, formerly Assistant Principal at Skyline, who is our new MTSS Director. So my new role is to support and leverage the work of the multi-tiered systems of support for all students, preschool through graduation, and also one step removed from Shireen Carver, who will be the Executive Director of Special Services.
That is a lot of changes.
It is.
So if, I mean, families don't necessarily have a direct contact with administration. Their family's first contact would still be, of course, with their case manager or their teacher. So if they don't necessarily know how they would connect with administrator, they would go to their case manager, correct?
For sure. And one of the things you, if you are a savvy parent, might recognize is that one of these changes is to address inclusive practices. And we have decided that it is time for our leadership to reflect what we're asking of schools and kids. And so we no longer have a director of LRC2 programs and a director of LRC1 programs. We have a director. So absolutely, you are correct. A family or a parent's first line of communication is to the case manager. And if you don't know who your case manager is, the principal secretary probably will know, the office professional, or the principal may know, or they can get you directed. And then you might have a director at one of your meetings, because this year special services will be all hands on deck.
Excellent. Yes, it's going to be quite a year. So I know that there's a lot of hiring issues in our community, in the state, and really across the nation. Are the special services classrooms and other special services staff positions fully staffed? And if not, how is ISD going to make sure that all of the IEP goals can be worked on in terms of staffing and related services as well?
Sure. I was grateful every day of last spring through the RIF process, et cetera, because the Human Resource Department worked really hard to bring the special services staff back first. So we knew we needed them all, and we probably added 15 or 16 positions throughout the district. I am very happy to report that every single teaching position is filled with a certified teacher. I have 1 or 2 maternity leaves, and they will have support, but maternity leaves aren't for good. And one of them at least is a maternity leave substitute who is also a special education teacher. I anticipated that we would have some struggles hiring in the paraprofessional ranks. And so we call it staffing heavy at the certificated level. So there's smaller class sizes, more teachers, because the paraprofessionals is where our worry spot is. To be honest, there's more than 20 open paraprofessional positions in the district. I did group interviews yesterday or the day before and offered for 5 positions. And it's an important part of how all education works. The paraprofessionals are a huge part of our teaching staff. So I would say that I do have all the teachers. I don't have all the paraprofessionals. We continue to interview. So if anyone out there is interested in being a paraprofessional, today's your day. It is your time to shine. Love to have you get on the district website and sign up to be a paraprofessional. And literally there are positions open throughout the district at all regions and at all levels.
That would be great. Yes, if anybody is looking for work in the schools, that is, it's a very fulfilling position to be in. Okay, so thank you. So the next, we spent a lot of time discussing recovery services during our last webinar back in May, and people can refer to that on the ISD Council webpage if they want to review what we talked about last year. But just to catch us up, can you briefly re-explain what recovery services are and what their purpose is? And then just give us an update on what's happened over the summer in terms of planning for recovery services.
Sure. So recovery services has been the name of the game and our main focus for the whole summer. That's what we worked on. We have presented our recovery services plan to the superintendent, all of the administrators, and now last Monday, all of the special education teachers. So recovery services are additional services offered to students and their families outside of school time that attempts to address the lost learning of the last 17 months. So we have a plan to invite every family in to a meeting. Those invites should go out in the month of September, and it is my expectation that we have already held meetings for all families by the end of the first trimester, which is usually right around the 1st of December. The recovery services are additional services offered outside of school that address the students' areas of SDI or specially designed instruction for all that has happened over the past 17 months between hybrid school, remote school, in-person school, a midday bus time, and then the year before, the spring of 2019, 2020, we are addressing that time period as well. So what families will hear is an invitation from their case manager to come in for a meeting to discuss recovery services. If a student has a naturally occurring IEP meeting in the fall, that time should be expended by at least 30 minutes to hold this discussion. The most important part for parents to expect at this meeting is the very first question is, how did COVID impact your family and your child uniquely? We know that if there are 1,641 students with disabilities in our district, there are 1,641 stories, and we want to make sure we capture all that happened to kids and families in this time to make sure that we are addressing all of the students' needs through the recovery plan. And the recovery services plan for special services is a component of the district's recovery services plan. And you should see that and hear about that throughout the fall with us at the school board meetings, et cetera.
Excellent. So just to reiterate, the case managers are going to be proactively contacting the families, and that is going to, the goal is to have that done by the end of September, but certainly families can contact the case manager themselves if they want to get something going sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And then again, just to reiterate, those recovery services meetings, the goal is to have them held by the end of the first trimester or December 3rd. But if a family isn't quite ready. That's the school's goal. If a family needs a little bit more time to prepare or to be able to do that, they can request something a little bit later, correct?
Sure. Our absolute deadline is the child's naturally occurring next IEP meeting. So if a family is just holding on at getting their kiddos out the door and back to school, when the call comes in September to say, hey, we'd like to schedule your recovery services meeting, it is perfectly acceptable to families, for families to say, you know, we're not there yet. Can we please push it off, or call me back in 2 weeks, or schedule it for January? All of that is fine. We just want to be proactive and warm and welcoming to families as they come back to school.
That's fantastic. Certainly, as you said, as many families there are that many different situations. And so some families might be extremely eager to get going, and others might want a little bit of time to kind of assess the beginning of school, et cetera. So that's great that this school district is able to work with the families' schedules and situations. So those are all of the questions that I had for today. We're kind of keeping it a little bit short and sweet. There's a lot to unpack for this school year, but thank you for being here once again with me. And thank you all who are watching for joining us. We hope that the information has been helpful. And again, we really would love to know what questions you would like to be part of these webinars. So if you have questions, please send them to via email to special-education@issaquahptsa.org. And again, you are always welcome on our Facebook group. You can find that by searching Issaquah Special Education PTSA Committee. Thanks very much for being here, Dana.
Thank you so much.
Have a great beginning to the school year, everybody.
Everybody, enjoy.